Hi, I'm Andrew Berry and welcome to At the Bench, and welcome to a different bench. This is one of the benches that we've got in our main studio, and from where the camera is here it looks like a normal bench with a semicircular cutout here, but there is something missing. I've got another camera set up on this side here. Hello. And from that camera position you can see that there is something missing from the bench here, and that is a bench peg. In fact, it's this bench peg here. There is a system that is available now, and it's from a company called GRS. It's an American company, and they produce this particular type of fitting that you can see here. And it is a simple rectangular steel block, but it's slightly dovetailed. It's slightly angled in this direction here, and it's also got a chamfer in the sense of this outer face here is basically bigger than the narrow face there. And the idea is that you screw this little plate onto your bench. You may be wondering why. Well, that will become apparent in a second, but you do need a bench that has quite a good thickness about it. This is a bench that is roughly about 1 inch thick. Most professional jewellery benches should be at least 2 inches thick, and this little plate would fit on there just nicely. But in this instance, as you can see here, I've added this little bit extra wood here, this little 1.5 inch piece of wood securely screwed on the bottom here, and that enables me to fasten this plate on really securely. Now, as you said, well, how does this bench peg here that I've got with this little cutout and the groove there, how is that going to fit? Well, this particular bench peg doesn't. So put that to one side. What this little plate enables us to do is to fit on various attachments onto our bench. You can fit on a bench peg, you can fit on stone setting tools, you can fit on a little ledge that'll hold an engraver's ball, and there's so much that you can do just by putting this little plate on. It enables you to swap over. If you are purely doing soaring all day long, well then in theory you wouldn't necessarily need to have this little plate. But like myself, if you are stone setting and you need to have 2 hands free, and in fact you've seen, if you've been a regular At the Bench member and you've watched the films on there on stone setting, you see me use that special black device that enables me to clamp that ring into the device and have 2 hands free whilst I'm working on it. That is the GRS benchmate system. I have that downstairs in my workshop that we use every day down there. It's a little bit too dirty down there, and to be honest, we have a nice professional studio and setup up here that we are filming in, and I thought it'd be a good idea to put this plate on one of the benches here just to take you through the few tools that are available that will really help the production of your work and to help take your stone setting especially to the next level, because you'll have complete control about what you're doing. So I'm just going to pop off and get my tools from downstairs. I'll be right back. Alright, so we've got a few bits and pieces that can fit on the GRS system here. These are, just got these from downstairs in my workshop. This isn't the complete selection, the complete range that you can buy, but this is just basically what we have got. Now, you need a bench peg, and these bench peg fittings here will accept a standard bench peg that you've got. We've got 2 here. One's mine and one's Jason's here, and there's a little screw on the side that you can undo, take out your peg. In fact, there's a bolt underneath as well here that you unscrew to put your peg in, and that folds up, tightens up nice and tight. It's got this fitting on the end now that will actually locate onto that bench plate we've got there, and that's nice and safe there. That isn't going anywhere. And it's also quite handy because you can have a couple of these, and perhaps you want to keep one specifically for soaring, for instance, or you've got a couple of users on the bench, and each user then can have their own bench pin, because I don't know about you, but Jason's bench pin here is completely different from my bench pin there. And as you work, you saw and you file in different ways. Not everybody saws and files in the same way, and your bench peg is going to wear in different ways, and you've got nice little grooves, nice little marks on the peg that enable you to work faster and more efficiently, and to have one for each worker on a bench like this would be absolutely ideal. So those are the bench pegs that you will fit on. Now this is the bad boy. This is an awesome bit of kit. It's quite heavy, obviously made from steel. It's got a fitting here that again slots onto that dovetail set. So this basically is, in one respect, a glorified ring clamp. This is a metal one here. You turn the knob on the end, closes these jaws up. These jaws have got plastic liners in there that grip onto the ring nice and tight. That fits into this collar here. You can use a little nut on the side here to tighten up so this doesn't turn. You've also got the ability to move this knob here, and which means you can adjust the angle this way or that way. And of course, there's a knob underneath here, and you can adjust that this way or that way. So really, you've got complete movement, and you can lock these off nice and tight. So you've got your two hands, and you can work, you can clamp the ring, put the ring in, you can clamp it nice and tight, and you've got two hands, and you can tighten these really, really tight, and these now will not move. Your whole bench moves before this would move. You've also got, I'm just getting an Allen key out of there. You've also got this little plate on the side here. This plate will come off if you don't want it. This is ideal. You can put your stones on and rest your hand on. And also at the back end here, you've got two nuts as well. In fact, my Allen key is a bit too small, but that will also enable this bar here to raise up and down as well. So it depends on how high you're sitting and how high or how low you want this. As it is now, I can look right down on this and get right down on my hands. My hands are resting upon the bench here, and I've got fantastic control over what I'm doing when it comes to the setting. You can also buy a separate ring clamp as well, and that comes in a kit, and that will pop into there as well. Now this ring clamp is ideal because you can actually put the ring on, then use my Allen key that will fit this, and you can turn that on there, which will expand this central piece here like that, and that will hold the ring nice and tight, especially if you're channel setting, and you can basically turn the ring right round as you're setting, and turn it and hold it, and again you've got that complete control over the ring, and you can go right round with that one as opposed to the other clamp where it just exposes that top section like that. Also, what is quite handy with this particular area here is that you can buy a soldering table. This is a little table that fits onto the top exactly the same. It's got a fibre board in the centre, and it's also got a couple of these arms as well. And in fact, you can actually use these arms on this plate here. You can screw them onto the side, and you can direct this. Now what this is ideal for, you can buy little clamps with insulated jaws that you can put into here, and basically you can actually use this then to solder. The clamp jaws then would perhaps clamp a ring, and you can bring a claw down to hold it into place like that, and you can solder it. There's no heat going to get through to here because the jaws on the clamp that would fit in here are insulated, so no heat goes through and gets transferred through. That's an ideal way. Again, this is nice and safe, and if you move it, well then the whole table would move as well. And there's two places for that. There's there and also at the back as well. And you can buy these little arms separately as well. So I think it's a fantastic system that I purchased, I think about 3 years ago, and it's something that I looked in the magazines for months and months and months, and I thought, oh come on, let's just buy it. It was a couple of £100 admittedly, but I bought it just before Christmas time, and I had a lot of setting to do that one year. And to be honest, it transformed my setting techniques. It is so much more accurate because you've got your two hands. You are not necessarily holding your ring in one hand and then trying to maneuver a graver or a mill grain wheel or a beading tool with the other hand. You've got both hands free. So you can control, you can rest your arms. Your arms don't get as tired as what they do because normally you're just holding onto this ring and bracing it and pushing it against this one, and you're forcing them together, because if this hand moves, then you completely ruined your work. With this, you've got your two knobs here, you can tighten up, and once you tighten them and put that into position, you know it's not going to go anywhere. So those were just a couple of the tools of the range that they produce, GRS produce. As I said, they produce like a ledge that would come down, that a little graver ball would sit on as well. And actually, what they do produce is an adapter plate. If your bench doesn't have the depth that you need, or you can't put a little plate like this at the bottom of your bench to accept this particular bench plate, they do produce I think it's a steel angled bracket that would screw onto the top half here, and that's an angle like this. Well, in fact, very similar to this bit of plastic here, where that bench plate would sit onto here, and that then would screw on top of the bench as well. So even if you had a lot of thinner bench, you could still use exactly the same system in exactly the same way, just using that adapter plate that would go on top of your bench there. So, benchmate, made by GRS, fabulous. You can buy it in all the good tool suppliers. In America, you can buy it from Rio Grande, you can buy it from Carl Fisher in Germany. Sutton Tools in the UK supply this and all the accessories. And if you can, just go out and buy one. It'll transform your work, it'll transform your setting and take your jewellery making and setting to that next level, trust me. I'm Andrew Berry for The Bench. Thank you for watching, see you in the next one. Bye bye.